Ooh. Hi everyone. Hopefully you guys can see me now. Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. I just could not get any video. I had sound, but I had no video at all. So oh my goodness. Now I'm all flustered. I don't even know what I'm doing here anymore. But I really appreciate you guys that are still here. My God, there's 35 people here waiting for me. I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't lose too many. But if you guys are my regulars, you know I always start late, but never this late, almost a half an hour. Whew. I hope you guys can hear me and I'm not just talking to myself, right? Okay, thanks, Zephyrin. All right, let me make sure I got the settings here. This looks good. This looks good. My hair, did I comb my hair? Okay. Yay. Wow, what a week. So I see Serge and Iwana, Zephyrin, Rick, how are you? John, Plato, good to see you. Oh, hi Nicole, Nicolay from Romania. That's awesome. Frank, how are you? John. Oh, is chat disabled? It shouldn't be. I don't see anything that I disabled it. And I'm reading everybody's messages. You guys can, if I type something here, let me see. I just typed in hello. Did you guys see that? Oh, on the screen. Duh. Thank you. Let me fix that. Seriously, you know, one of these days I'm gonna have to actually prep before I start a stream or a video for that matter. There we go. Now, oh Steve, how are you? Yeah, you just got in. I you know, I just kind of just turn the lights on and the camera and sit down and just start to talk, right? That's normally how it works. And my videos are the same way. There's so little prep. I have everything set up here behind me. And I just turn the camera on and put the mic on and just start recording, right? Like the last two videos I did. Well, just about, I'd say 90% of my videos are like that. If it's not a vlog where I'm just out. And my vlogs are the same way. It's like I have my camera with me and I'm driving somewhere and I say, oh, let me stop here and just take some pictures. And then they end up being my short treks and then my longer treks where I actually try to accomplish something like compare. Uh, Seriously, what just happened? Okay, so I hit a button or something, but uh, anyhow, I finally got, you know, being stuck at home, right? I did so much shopping online, and I don't know what got up my butt about getting a watch, but I decided to get a watch. And I probably mentioned this in the live stream, but it finally came in yesterday. It took about 2 weeks to get here, and uh, I ended up buying three watches, and I have about, you know, a dozen more in my wish list on Amazon. But Rick had suggested in the last live stream when I talked about this was to get a one of these, and this is a knockoff from. Oh, I got face detect on, so I gotta. This is this is a knockoff of a Swiss railway watch, and let's see, it says 455 or 355, so it's After one day, it's about 3 minutes slow. I paid like 20 bucks for this watch, and then I paid about another $20 for this leather strap. But it's really easy to read, and it goes really well with what I'm wearing today, right? I think this brown leather goes really well with this suit. Um, but yeah, this was a great recommendation. I'd never seen a watch like this before until Rick showed it to me. He had emailed me some pictures of watches, and he's gonna send me one. His old one, I guess. And you need to tell me how much it is to cost to ship it, so I can pay you back. It's just an old military or field watch, but it's made out of titanium, which is not a cheap thing to come by when it comes to watches. When you start looking at watches, titanium watch, because we have titanium. Let me talk about camera for a second. But titanium cameras generally carry a premium. Like the Fuji X Pro 3 came in titanium, and it was like $200 or $300 more to get that. But titanium is, I'm a snob. Thanks, Jan. But titanium is a very lightweight metal, but it's about, it's like 1/3 the weight or 30% less. No, it's like 1/3 the weight of stainless steel, but it's 5 times as strong. So it's lighter and stronger, and it is more scratch resistant because it's a harder material. So I think if you can get a camera made out of titanium, that's it's going to be very scratch resistant. Uh, and then when it comes to the glass, like the crystal on the watch, they come in like they got plastic ones, they got glass ones, they got crystal ones. Seiko's got one they call Hardlex, which is basically a mineral crystal. And then they have sapphire. And sapphire is the one you want to get because it resists scratches much better than Hardlex or mineral crystal glass. So just some tips on watch buying and camera buying, right? Is try to get titanium if it's available because it's lighter and stronger. And if you think about watches, always look for sapphire glass. Now for 20 bucks. Now what's interesting, for 20 bucks, this is also a fully automatic. So it automatically winds when you wear it, but it also has manual winding. So that's I mean, where are you going to get an automatic mechanical watch for $20 that is almost a complete ripoff of a $200 watch? And oh, my smartwatch. Yeah, it's over there charging on the I need to get a new strap for it. I'm looking at straps now. No, it's not an atom movement apparently. It's some cheap Chinese, movement. Like I said, it's already 3 minutes behind after just one day. So I'm gonna have to set the watch 3 minutes fast if I'm gonna wear it. And then, but that's the. But I was thinking when I was buying these watches, I bought this watch very much like when I buy batteries for my camera, because this watch here, I paid $11 for it. It's just a stupid quartz Chinese, and it's got a nice dial on it if you can see. Um, let me get the camera to try to stop focusing on me. But I bought it because I like this band. Because, bands cost $15-$20 on the low end. So I said, well, I'll get a whole watch with the band. But the problem was the description said this was a 20 millimeter bandwidth, and it's not. It's like 21 or 22, so it doesn't fit the watch that I really wanted. The watch I really wanted is a Seiko, and I ended up getting. I don't know if you guys. Am I wasting you guys' time talking about watches? Uh, but this is the watch that I really wanted. This is the Seiko Sarb. Oh, it's already got a smudge on it. Big smudge. Good thing I got all this microfiber cloth from my camera gear, right? What? Well, you know, think of it as jewelry for men. um, Women wear watches, but and I'm a guy. What am I gonna do? Not buy a watch? Uh, I'm focused. I can't believe I'm stressing the camera out. The autofocus system on it. This is the M1 Mark II. Trying to focus on my watch here. It's focusing on my fingers. Um, but yeah, Seiko. The lighting is so bad. It's a Seiko Sarbo 33. You know, fully automatic. It has the 6R15D movement in it. And yeah, maybe I'm a girl. Could be. I seriously doubt it though. Um, and I just put this black leather band on it from another watch because I don't like the metal bracelets. I used to like metal bracelet watches, but I'm not much of a metal bracelet guy these days. So that's the watch, and I like Seiko because it's more sentimental because my dad used to wear Seiko. And then I got a nice, okay, and I'm going to end it with this. And I got a nice little case for all the watches that I have. I mean, I got more watches than this, but this is my Star Trek watch over here, and then this is a Skagen. It's a German watch. This is a Swiss quartz watch. It's a Weg. I can't remember what it's called. A Wenger. It's a Wenger. And then this is I think this is a Loris here on the end. No, it's a Citizen's watch. And then, you know, I got my Timexes. Yeah, I got bad watch gas now, right? Well, while I was digging around for my old watches, I got, you know, I bought batteries for them, and I bought a whole pack. I got to show you this pack. For like $15, I got this whole pack of batteries. So I was able to go and put new batteries in all my watches. So that was a deal. That's like like 50 cents a battery I paid, and they're alkaline. Oh, you like the Seiko 5s are awesome. But this is an old wind-up Timex from gosh, I've had this watch since elementary school. It's but it's too bad the knuckle here is broken. Otherwise, I'd put a band on it and wear it. But this watch, they've kind of recreated it. They call it the Timex Marlin, which is like a $200 manual wind watch. They're nuts, but it's basically the same thing as the Timex Marlin. But watches, just like cameras, if you really want to think about it this way, uh, it kind of gave me an idea that I was thinking it'd be really cool because they still make mechanical watches and cameras, kind of like the Pen F. You kind of buy them sometimes just because of the style, and you know, regardless of the technical part of the camera. I mean, it was a technically capable camera, but perfectly capable camera, the Pen F. But I bought it mainly because of the design, right? I really like the design. So I was thinking, just like they do with watches, they still make mechanical watches. I was thinking, why don't they make a mechanical camera but have a digital sensor, right? So it's a fully mechanical except for the sensor. The shutter mechanism, the aperture, you know, you like Why can't they just take an old Olympus OM1 and put a digital sensor in it, and but everything else around it is fully mechanical? I think that would be really cool. That would be, it'd be very, very niche product, right? But then they could make it beautiful, right? Make it an all metal build, just like the original OM1s. So it'd be like a modern re-release, right? Not, no viewfinder. I guess Leica does that, right? But no live view, no electronic viewfinder, um, and uh, and then be fully mechanical. Like you have to wind the shutter mechanism to get the shutter to close, and just like I said, I don't know. I think there'd be a market for that to some degree, and people would just buy them because of uh the what God, what's the word I'm looking for? But just like people buy mechanical watches, like FP Journe, right? Those are ten to $100,000 watches. It's because of the thought and the engineering that goes into designing all the mechanical parts in that watch, right? That's why it's so expensive, because they're very, very unique and extremely difficult to design and build to do the things that those watches do. Yeah, mechanical cable release, everything mechanical, like a fully mechanical camera except for the sensor. And just have a digital sensor in there. It doesn't have to be anything special, right? Um, and the closest thing I've seen is, like, I think there's a Leica that has no live view screen and just a viewfinder, right? A optical viewfinder. I forget what it's called. But it's a digital camera still. All the mechanisms and everything are controlled electronically. I'd like to see a fully mechanical, yeah, steampunk. I saw a steampunk EM10 Mark II a couple of years ago on one of the forums. It was really cool looking. Oh man, if you search for steampunk EM10, you'll see it. It's really cool. I wonder, I bet. Oh, Rick told me I need to sit back a little because I'm sitting too close. Let me see if I can find that without killing the sound. Steampunk EM E-M10 Mark II. Ah, nah, it's not coming up right away. It was a really cool looking camera though. Ah, too bad. That would have been really cool to show you guys. Like I said, if I prep for these live streams, they'd probably be a lot more interesting or a lot better. uh, okay, so let me see if there's any questions, because I cranked out a couple videos this week. What the heck were they about? Like I said, I just kind of, I get this idea in my mind. I sit down and I just record them. I don't have like a planner where I say, okay, this week I'm going to do this week I'm going to do that. Um, what did oh, wait, what was it? What did I do a video on yesterday or day before? Oh, no. Oh, on the EVF, right? Because somebody asked me last week, what's the difference between on one and on two? And on the EVF, and I did a terrible job trying to explain that. So I said, let me just make a video. And then while I was on the video, thank you, Roberta. While I was on the video, while I was making the video, I said, oh, there's a eco savings, God, what is it called? Quick sleep mode. So I need to elaborate on that because Rick made a few good comments about that video. That one of the comments was related to um, What the heck is wrong with my brain? It was related. He made the comment that you shouldn't leave the camera in sleep mode for any length of time. It'd be better to just turn it off, which makes sense, right? Because the camera still draws a little bit of energy from the battery, even though it's in sleep mode, because it has to be able to wake up quickly. So it's storing things in short-term memory, like your settings and things, and um, and then it has to be able to pull any of the buttons on the camera uh, to check that, to see if you pushed anything to turn it back on. And I think in the older cameras, the draw during sleep mode was pretty high. I saw a spreadsheet that someone else had done, and they used a fluke meter, but the draw in sleep mode is about 71 milliamps. And with an 1200 milliamp battery, you should be able to stay in sleep mode for about 16 or 17 hours. But it's going to drain the battery, even in sleep mode. Now, the EM1 Mark III, I tried to measure the draw with the device that I have, but it doesn't measure down to the milliamp. It only measures down to 0.00 amps. And it was reading 0 when it was in sleep mode, so that tells me it was drawing less than 10 milliamps during the sleep mode. And if that's the case, then we could go about 50 hours in sleep mode. Uh, but let's split the difference. Let's say that the newer processor is more efficient and everything, and it's only drawing 30 milliamps in sleep mode. That's still about 50 hours, right, of sleep time. And then the other point he brought up was about the eye sensor detect. When you bring up the camera up to your eye, there's a little eye detect sensor. And is it better to just be in auto switch mode rather than yeah, oh, see, Rick just brought it up. Is it better to be in auto switch mode, turn that off, where you manually switch between EVF and the viewfinder versus having it automatically detect your eye? And the way it detects your eye being near the sensor, it has a little infrared sensor and receiver, just like on your television. Remote control is the transmitter, and then your TV has a receiver. So it has a transmitter receiver diodes in it, or LEDs. I assume they're infrared, but they could be anything. And I assume they're infrared because you can't visibly see it with the naked eye, so they have to illuminate the LED at a frequency of light that is invisible to the human eye. Otherwise, it'd be really distracting to put your eye up to the viewfinder or EVF, and then there's this light blinking in your eye, right? But so it's probably at an infrared frequency that's invisible to the naked eye, and those LEDs draw, a bright LED will draw 10 to 20 milliamps, and a very weak LED that I'm sure that they're using in the camera is probably drawing less than 5 milliamps. So you're not really going to save any battery life that I can see by manually switching between the EVF and the live view versus using the EVF auto detect. I guess technically you would save some battery life, but I compare it to like turning the radio on while you're driving your car. Yeah, it uses more gas when the radio is on, but it's so infinitesimal small amount that you're not going to be able to measure or tell the difference in actual real life use. In a lab, yes, turning the radio on in your car uses more gas, but in real life, it's a non, it's just not even an issue. So uh, unless and Rick said he might check with somebody at Olympus on this, but I can't imagine an LED drawing any power of any consequence to battery life. Now, I did see some questions here, so let me get to those. But if you're going to ask some questions, be sure to put at robtrek in in front of the question because it highlights on my screen so I can see it. Um, I'll just show you. Oh, you can't see it? Why? Well, I can see it. It comes highlighted. That way I can catch them easier. But there was a question I think about um, something about astrophotography. Wow, Iwan, you got Omegas for the girls. We were talking about watches earlier. The Casio Edifice, awesome. Yeah, the Tough Solar. I have that in my shopping list, on my wish list. And oh, Gruen. Wow, that's amazing. And the Fujifilm camera is just that, a retro modern camera. Yeah. Yeah, but it's still all digital inside. Just the outside is retro. I'm thinking fully mechanical. Yes, Saffron. I hope they do. Someone comes up with a little thing you can insert like film, but it's a digital sensor. But that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking more of actually building cameras for the mechanical design and engineering, doing something fancy with them and making them more precise and, like really improve on mechanical design over the ones from the 60s and 70s. Okay, I'm going to find this question that I saw about Astro. Oh, here's one. On the EM1 Mark II, what do the two colors, white and green, show on the live histogram preset? Oh, okay. White, okay, so in the histogram, let me see if I can show you guys. I actually know the answer to this one. You guys' questions are getting really hard, but I can answer this one. Uh, you can almost see, I mean, well, I got my green screen on, but so the green is not going to show. But there's a little green inside the histogram when you're looking at it. So the white histogram is the overall scene, the entire sensor, okay? The little green area is where the focus point is. So if I move the focus point to a dark area, that green part is going to go further to the left. And if I put the focus point onto a bright area, it's going to move over or spike. Like if I point it at the sun, the focus point, it's going to move over to the right and spike up. So the green area is just the light reading or histogram reading on the focus point, and the white one is for the entire sensor. All right. Hopefully you're still here because you asked me that about 10 minutes ago. What about the EVS sensor? And I know a guy had a computer for 10 years and someone told him he had to turn it off and he did. And that's hilarious. But that makes sense, because the electronic components, particularly the capacitors in electronics, capacitors and maybe the diodes. Not the diodes, not so much. It sounds like a diode went out if the computer wouldn't turn back on. But typically the capacitors, you have energy running through them and they're supposed to store energy. And when you turn the computer off, it's going to drain. But if it's lost its capacity while it was, over time, it loses a capacity. So when you try to turn it back on, the diodes are not going to let the capacitor charge back up or let electricity pass through the capacitors because the capacitor has lost its charge capacity. And that's probably why it won't turn back on. It's probably one of the capacitors, and the diodes in front or behind it, because diodes only allow power to go through in one direction. So if it's not sensing voltage coming out of the capacitor, or if there's not a charge in the capacitor, the diode won't let the electricity go on or let you turn the computer on. I'm just talking out my butt, really, but I think that's what's happening. I'm not an electrical engineer or anything, but I think that's what's going on. But that's, that I hear that sometimes people turn something off and never comes back on, and that's generally what it is. Okay, I was at 416, 417. Let's see. Crap, there was a question here about Astro. I'm trying to find. Whoever asked me the Astro question, can you ask me again? Because now I can't find it. So let me move on to the next ones in case I run into it again. Uh, just now was a guitar live stream, before also guitar. Yeah. Okay, that was for Plato. EM10 battery, crap. Don't know what that's about. I normally have super control panel on the screen and auto EVF detection. Yes. That's what I normally do, but now that we have on 2 available, I use the on 2 more. Because I hate that, like I showed on my video. It's really annoying. Found one caveat on the on2 settings. Screen facing up, screen at 90 degree, on2 won't function. It had to be in a position on a tripod for a shot. Yeah, it's the on2, right? It's a little bit sensitive depending exactly where it is uh, in an opened or closed position, because when the monitor's flipped all the way out, the on2 doesn't apply. The monitor just stays on. So there's kind of a neutral zone here, right? To use a Star Trek analogy, between being fully open or kind of in between. Yeah, so I know what you're talking about. Um, can you do a Milky Way? Oh, here it is. Marius asked me, can you do Milky Way photography with EM10 Mark III? Yes. Which lens is suited for that? They're going to cost more than the camera, but a lot of people are using the 12 millimeter f2 or the Laowa. I'm sorry, the Laowa 7.5 millimeter f2. It's a manual focus lens. It's about $500, I think. That's a very popular lens for Astro. People are getting great results. Me personally, I'm going to go out with the 8 millimeter f1.8, which is like about an $800 lens. Now you can get started though using just your kit lens. Your results are going to be a little rough, but most of the work when you do astrophotography is really in the post processing. So I think if you're not ready to drop, $500, $600, $800 on a fast wide lens, you can practice with your kit lens. Because I've done astro with the kit lens, but the results aren't great. But you can get a lot of good practice in the post-processing side, which is probably 90% of the work in astrophotography is in the post-processing. So that's where I would focus on practicing that part. And once you can get the very best you can out of the kit lens and you're comfortable with that post-processing part, then I think it'd be worthwhile investing in a really good lens. Because you could buy the 8 millimeter f1.8 or the Laowa 7.5 f2 and get crappy results and then think the camera's terrible, but that's because it's all in the post processing with astrophotography. Nobody I know can just go out, snap a picture, and get a picture of the Milky Way straight out of camera. That's just not happening. You have to take a picture, sometimes several pictures, blend them. I mean, there's a whole thing. So do some search on YouTube for astrophotography, and look at the videos that are like 30 to 40 minutes, an hour long, that take the pictures. So they walk you through in the field how they took the picture, and then also walk you through the post-processing as well. There's a software, I think it's called Registax, that is free, that does a good job, and you won't need Photoshop, but then that'll get you started. But to really get into it, you're going to need like Photoshop or some serious photo editing software as well. So, but yeah, just maybe start with your kit lens. But if you want to get a wide lens that's relatively inexpensive, um, you can try. It's going to be a manual focus third-party lens, but there are some f2.8 lenses out there that are wide. I can't remember how wide they are, but there's some f2.8 lenses out there that are nice and wide, like 7-8 millimeters, that will get you started. You know, and that might be a good way because they're about $150 for those lenses, and they'll get you good results. Pretty close to the most expensive lenses, but the most expensive lenses obviously will give you the best results. But it's like I said, Astro is more about the post processing. All right, let's see. Apparently, the low light autofocus drains quite a lot of power. Olympus even say it about in the manual. Yes, I believe that. Um, the edifice is full mechanical. I don't think they all are. I I eyeballed some of the edifices, but I didn't. The one I have is a Tough Solar in my thing, a Casio Tough Solar. What is a good homemade windshield for a Pen F? I have no idea, John. What do you mean by windshield? And Tito says chronograph and built-in calendar till the year 2099. Yes. Some watches go really far. Some watches only go up to like 2030. So they have very short like perpetual calendars or anyway. Yeah, watches are a whole nother subject. There's whole channels devoted to watches. I've been watching a ton of them. What do the green colors? Oh, I answered that one. There was a rumor on 43 Rumors that they may bring the Pen F back. Should we start? Yes. um, honestly, Roman, I don't think anything we say or do will influence Olympus one way or the other. I mean, I think they know that there's a very select group of people that want the Pen F, but they're looking at it from a marketing point. Are they going to sell enough to make their money back? And I say make the camera just because you can. Don't make it because it has to be a marketing success. Just make the camera because you can. It's a lot like the Mazda Miata, right? It's a very specialized car. It's a very special car. Has the underpinnings of a race car basically, and the design and engineering that goes into that is totally unnecessary in today's market. But they make it because they can, and I think Olympus should do the same. They should make the Pen F because they can. Just make it, please, Olympus. Just make it. George is asking, have you noted any difference in the speed of the autofocus face detect between the M5 Mark III and the M1 Mark III? No, I don't do enough face eye detect kind of photography to have a feel for that. I've read enough reports from people that say it's much better. And if the EM1 Mark III's new processor is faster and more powerful, that's automatically going to lead to better autofocusing system, because autofocusing really puts a drain on the CPU. And I think that might lead to why Rick was saying that low light autofocusing draws more power. It's going to draw more in the CPU side as well. So from a hardware standpoint, it has to be better. Even if it's the same sensor and same focusing system, the fact that it has a more powerful processor will definitely make it a better autofocus system. Fruit says, I dropped my 45 f1.8 a foot. It was in a barrel case. Okay, now it makes a little noise during focusing. Did I ever try to fix a lens? No, don't DIY a lens. There's probably one of the plastic pins inside the lens broke, and even if you could open it up and find that part, um, meaning you're not gonna be able to replace that part. It's probably a one-piece assembly, and if you if you can, maybe send it into Olympus, but the cost of getting it repaired might outweigh the cost of just getting another lens or not be cost effective. But if it's working, fine. But it's probably just one of the like I forget what they call those things. I just don't have the memory I used to. I used to know what everything was called. But it's sort of it's like a little barrel pin, a plug that breaks off inside those lenses that holds other things together. All right. Dang it, I accidentally jumped. Okay, where was I at? Man, what time? At 4:35. All right, so that was 4:22. Okay, I'm going to talk faster. Do you recommend erase or format? Always do format when clearing the memory card, because the difference between format and erase is erase will only erase things in the Olympus directory. So it'll be like 100 Olympus and then a subdirectory DCIM, and that's where all your pictures go for that camera. But if you use that memory card for other things, like maybe saving files from your computer, or maybe or you put it on a totally different camera system, like a Fujifilm camera, it's going to save to a different directory. So erase only erases that one directory. Format erases the entire card. So that's the way you need to do it. Hi, Corna, how are you? I got a really late start today. I have a question about camera upgrade. Based on your use of the OMDs, which camera is going to give me a good upgrade for my buck from an OMD 10 Mark II? Wow. I think it depends what you want, really. It really, if okay. So if it's photography only and just general photography, not sports action, EM5 Mark II is a really nice upgrade. It adds a high-res shot mode. It has better image stabilization. It has a mic jack for video, the fully articulating screen, nice weather-sealed all-metal build camera. And I've seen refurbs and used for like $400 or $500. Excellent, excellent way to upgrade for general photography. If you're thinking about sports action and low light photography, EM5 Mark III is an excellent upgrade. Right now it's about $1,000, brand new, right? And it's also a much more capable video camera, much better image stabilization even over the EM5 Mark II, better face and eye detect, much better focusing system overall. So that'll be a substantial upgrade, but it's double the price, right? That's where I would go. Is if you don't care about 4K video or sports action photography, EM5 Mark II is right now an excellent deal, and I think offers enough updates because it also has in-camera focus stacking, um, and like I said, it does have a better image stabilization, even though they're both 5-axis image stabilization, but you gain high-res shot mode, which is a lot of fun too. So that would be my recommendation, that or the M5 Mark III. The M5 Mark III if you want the 4K video and the better focusing system and low light capability. And by low light, I mean low light focusing. Image quality in of itself is not going to be that much different between EM10 Mark II and anything else out there, really. Even a Nikon Z7, in my opinion. But I mean, I'm pushing it a little there. But yeah, image quality is excellent on all of the OMD cameras, even the Mark Ones. So upgrading, you have to be upgrading for very specific features like weather sealing, high-res shot mode, better image stabilization, the mic jack, the fully articulating screen. You know, upgrade for very specific things that you need for your own photography. If you need better sports action, then the EM5 Mark III and 4K. All right. Roman says, I wonder if there is a question Rob cannot answer. Remember, a few months ago, the questions were much easier. It seems everybody learns. Yeah, there's so many things I cannot answer. I really don't know anything about anything. I'm so ignorant, and it's so obvious. Like when I do the photo critiques and things, I'm really out of my element because I'm not a creative person. I don't have that eye like a lot of you guys do. Because when I see your Instagram pictures and stuff, oh my God, they're just amazing. And I try to learn from them and see what I like about them, but you just got to have that eye for photography sometimes. I have to approach it from a very technical standpoint. And that's why like architectural and real estate photography works for me because I just have to get my lines straight, right? Perspectives, things like that. Very simple geometry when it comes to architectural photography. I can follow geometry. But when somebody takes a picture, a street photo or an environmental photo or a landscape, it's like I'm just totally out of my element. And I uh I can only guess at how to make it better. Like I can see where well anyway, when we do the photo editing, I always do the photo critiquing at the end. So we'll come to that last. But let me see where I'm at. 425. Okay, I'm only 15 minutes behind. Let me talk faster. Kostov says some of my title options stopped working in the super control panel. EM13 grayed out, like focus and white balance, etc. I had to do a basic reset. Any idea why? Let me think. Some of my title options. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. You'd have to tell me specifically what was disabled. Then I could probably give you a better answer. I mean, just walking in blind like that, I can't think of anything that would gray out things. Let me look at the super control panel. Maybe something will come to mind. Um, I mean, Flash is obviously grayed out. I'd have to see it, Kostov. I'm sorry. My brain is not working well today. Let's see. If you don't need the speed and weather sealing, better buy lenses. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a very good point, Roman. Instead of upgrading, consider buying a lens that you really want. Can you do Milky Way photos with OMD EM10 Mark III? Oh my God, why is this? Why is this? Oh, I asked you to ask me again. That's why it's there again. Okay, Marius. Hi Rob, what brand of AC battery compartment adapter do you use for your live streams? I do not use AC battery compartment. I just run off the battery in the camera, and I get about 3 hours out of it on the EM1 Mark II. If I use the M1 Mark III, I Jimmy says I can power it. I mean, I know I can power the camera with a USB-C power bank, but when I try to power it and I lose the HDMI output, so I wouldn't be able to live stream with it if I'm powering it with a USB-C port. But Jimmy says you can power it and get HDMI out on the M1 Mark III. So I'm gonna have to try it again. But when I tried it before, it didn't work. Iwana says the Laowa 7.5. Yes, excellent lens. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about that lens. It's not one that I own because I have an 8mm from Olympus, but you should format the card and camera if it's been plugged into your computer, otherwise erase it. You can do Astro with the EM10 Mark II and 3. You can use any wide angle lens. 20 works fine. Yep. Yeah, I mean you can do Astro with anything. Like I said, most of the work is in post processing. Adapt a fast OM lens for Astro. Maybe. I'm not familiar with. I mean, the old OM lenses. It's hard to find one that's wide and cheap. You know, you might as well buy a native lens that's wide and cheap. Because if you try to find a wide angle vintage lens, man, that's going to be expensive. Um, let's see. If as many people bought the pen as of those that rave about Olympus would be pleased. I know, right? What is the latest firmware for the M5 Mark II? Oh, I have it on my camera. I was trying to turn my camera on. I'm like, why isn't it powering on? It's because I had the freaking screen closed. That's how bad my eyes are. I can't even see when the screen is closed. Oh, it does need a battery. Okay. All right, the latest firmware, and I updated the firmware about a month ago. Is 4.1. Okay. I've always had formatted my cards, yes. Good marketing advice for Olympus, Rob, the former CEO of Transworld. Made a negative profit. Wow. All right. Where is okay. 4:34 p.m. So I'm only 11 minutes behind now. Hi Rob, do you know why using USB PD on the M1 Mark III or M1X cuts off clean record mode HDMI? Works perfectly on battery, but not. Yeah, I just talked about that, right? About Jimmy was telling me you can. I don't know why. I don't know why the HDMI dies. I'm gonna look into that though. So I will make a video on it. It'll be a short video, but I'll figure it out. Let me make a note on that. Because that's a video I can kind of just sit down and turn on the lights and make, right? HDMI out with a power bank on EM1.3. I don't know about the M1X, but I can do it for the M13. So watch for that video. Crap, I just pushed a button. Am I still good? Okay. So yeah, watch for that, Simon. I'll do my best. The SD Association memory card formatter to check SD cards for problems and determine counterfeit and capacities. Go to SD. Oh yeah, they do have. I downloaded that once and used it, but anyhow, I don't remember what it did differently than just formatting a card in your computer. Apparently it does a lot more, but more than I really need personally. EM12 can be used for under 1,000. Yes, they have the EM1 Mark II now on the Get Olympus site for $9.99 refurbed, which is basically brand new. Oh yeah, Rick N is saying that, and I know it's Robin Wong talked about this too, that he only erases his cards, and so he doesn't delete the readme.txt, because on the SD card he'll put his personal contact info in a readme file on the SD card, and so if anybody finds his camera and knows how to check the SD card, they might see that file. I mean, that's a long shot. I think it's better to format the card personally. I don't see any value in that at all. If I ever lose a camera, it's gone. I don't expect to get it back. Um, let's see. Take a picture of your business. Oh wait, that's not for me. I put a small sticker on the bottom of the camera with my name and at. Yeah, I mean that's a good idea, right? Just put a sticker on it. Or better yet, right? I think somebody just said that too. Duh, that's what you were talking about. Take a picture of your business card first, right? That has your name, address, phone number on it. So that'll be on the card. Uh, and just say, contact me here. This is my camera. And then, it has your name, address, phone number, and take a picture of that every time. That's a great idea. um, what warranty you get on the refurb? I believe it's 90 day. It's a 90-day warranty on the refurbs. But I bought a camera. What did I buy off them? And it only had like a 200 shutter count or something on it. I can't remember. Oh, David bought a dummy block, which is, a dummy battery that you can put in to your cameras to run off AC power or a separate power bank. Oh, you're welcome, Chili Bones. How are you? I didn't even see you come in. I'm only 7 minutes behind here. I'm getting there. If connecting to HDMI and external recorder, will it bypass 30? Yes. Yeah, you can. The camera. You need to set the. Yeah, it'll stay on. You just need to set the HDMI out to be a clean HDMI out. So you would set it to record. You would set it to record mode because they have a monitor mode and a record mode in the HDMI out in the movie menu, which is I'll just show it to you. But in the video menu, you have down freaking green screen. I'll turn this off so you can see it. So once you get into like right now it's in monitor mode, you need to change that to record mode, like so, and that'll give you a clean HDMI out, so you can record to an external recorder. I've done that a few times. Like I wanted to do a time lapse of a sunset, so I just recorded it in 4K and or I'm sorry, in HD, and just let the recorder run for an hour and then played it back really fast to see what it looked like. It came out terrible. Not the camera's fault, but I was just kind of experimenting. Yeah, refurbs in the US are 90-day warranty. Yes, thank you, John. Move to Sony so you can enjoy IQ. Maybe. Depends what you mean by IQ, though, right? Okay, Simon, I'll check. I'll check on that. Because it's a feature that's available on the camera to power it with a USB port. So we got to know what the limitations are. If there's a limitation by powering the camera that way, then we need to know what they are. If that means the HDMI doesn't work right, I don't know. We'll see. Um, EM5 Mark II latest firmware is 4.1. Where are we? George says it's 4.2. So there's another update since I've looked at it. I just updated like a month ago. I haven't had the camera that long. Oh, no, okay, now he corrected it. 4.1. So that I do have the latest firmware on mine. I would love vote for M1 Mark II due to 3.2 firmware. Yes, 3.2 is really good. Question about Olympus cameras. Is there a way to disable the shutter if no memory card is inserted? No. I have not seen that. Sony has that too. That setting, release shutter without card. So no, it's always going to fire whether there's a card in the camera or not. Yeah, Wolftick, it's about time to update if you're on 2.3. They added some new art filters too, which if you care about that, I do. I love the new art filters. And a bunch of other stuff, you know. Okay, I'll look into it, Simon. Casas, I think Casas is referring to the previous question. Configure the exposure button for live view boost. Find that redundant in aperture priority. You can control exposure with the wheel easily. Okay. Any idea how to check to make sure my Olympus equipment is in fact registered? No, I have no idea. You mean registered with Olympus for warranty purposes? I think you have to create an account online, and once you do that, because I did register a couple of my cameras. I haven't done it in a long time. I've gotten like 5 cameras since then. But when I registered, I had to create an account online, and then I registered it that way. So when I log in, I can log into my account, and it'll show me which cameras I have by serial number, if I remember correctly. And that was for warranty purposes, or service and repair if it's out of warranty. But you can register online. Clean power is very important, so I'm interested in buying reliable AC power block, but I will try the USB-C with HDMI. Yes. Craig, it has to be the M1 Mark III or the M1X, though. None of the other Olympus cameras have USB-C power. Yeah, he Bowden's saying the same thing. He bought an EM5 Mark III refurb for $767. Wow. And it only had 300 clicks on it. God, that's a great deal. I'm so jealous. You know, I paid full pop for mine. I'm interested in the smaller EM5 Mark III, but disappointed to find out that you cannot use tethering. Yeah, you lose tethering with the EM5 Mark III. That was a mistake. All right, I'm at 4:53 p.m. David Crooks. No, sorry. I just ordered EM1 Mark III yesterday, waiting. Awesome. Congratulations. Do you utilize an Ollie optical teleconverter? No, I do not. What is the relative flange distance with a 2x adapter attached to a compatible lens? I think there's a slight convex protrusion to reduce it. Yeah, there is a protrusion from the 2x adapter, and that's why it's only compatible with certain lenses. Otherwise, it'll bust the glass on lenses that aren't made for it. So, but yeah, I can't speak to how big it is. I mean, I've seen it in pictures. It's like this, but that doesn't help, right? Rob just purchased a 12 to 40 in excellent condition for $569. Couldn't justify brand new, but for a limited amount of use, the 1240 range, yes. 1240 is an excellent lens. That's what I'm using now. And what I like about it is the close focusing distance. I mean, I'm about I'm about 2 inches away from the lens. I mean, look at that. Right about there is the limit. You can get my fingerprint. Oh, I better not do that. They got crooks now that can read people's fingerprints off pictures and use it for biometric thieves. Anyway, yeah, biometric thieves out there. Pretty soon they're gonna be able to scan my retina from the live streams and steal my identity. What do you think about people become a minority in London? I have no idea. I don't live in London. But people are people. I use tethering on the EM5 Mark IIs. Have up to download to file work. Yes, okay, so yeah, the EM5 Mark IIs tether, basically. There's different ways to tether them, but you need to use the tethering software from Olympus, and then it'll save the files to a certain folder that a third-party software can monitor. I forget what they call it, the live folder or hot. I think they call it a hot folder. Well, hi, Tech Master. Welcome. Let's see. robtrek, can you tell George Bacon how he tethers the M5 Mark III for using with Lightroom? I cannot. I don't know how to tether with the M5 Mark III at all. I thought there was a workaround for tethering the M5 Mark III, messy but doable. I can't think of anything. I'm trying to think. The only way I can think of is, the only way I can think of is like if you have a tablet with, say, Lightroom installed on it, because they have a tablet version for Lightroom. Lightroom can monitor the folder that if you run the Olympus Share app to capture pictures, to download pictures from your camera. Yeah, that would be messy though, right? You'd have to use Olympus Share to remotely control the camera. And then when you take a picture, download that picture into a folder, then Lightroom. Well, what's the difference between that and just putting the SD card in? Excuse me. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head that tethering would be an option. The only thing, and I don't know if they still make them, is they used to have these little network. They called them Wi-Fi cards that would act like an FTP server in your camera, and you could connect to the Wi-Fi card from the app or your computer, and every time you took a picture, it would, you could access that folder on the SD card. But that's brutal. And like I said, I don't even know if they still make Wi-Fi cards. It's spelled EYEFI. That's the only way I can think of. For macro, I've seen people using the 1.4 TC, then extension tubes, then a lens that does not have the TC. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that's a workaround, right? Put extension tubes on the teleconverter. Oh, Chili Bones. Yeah, see, I'm so far behind. Chili Bones said an Wi-Fi card works fairly well in lieu of a cable tether. Thank you. Let's see. It seems you've answered your own question. Jury refurb EM1 Mark II. Yep. Let's see. Okay, you're welcome, George. I'm all caught up. Finally, finally, on the questions. So, any other questions? If I missed your question, now's a good time to ask because I'll see it. Oh, okay, good, good. Yeah, the Rick is saying that tethering using the OI Share app, right? I think that's what you mean, right? Using the OI Share app on your computer and then and then having the software monitor the folder that the OI AirShap uses. It's a little messy. I think iFi card might be a cleaner solution if they're even still available. Um, Hadi, I really can't talk about any of that stuff because YouTube is very sensitive about those topics. So if uh, if we were face to face, I could talk to you about those things. But unfortunately, yeah, if I do that on YouTube, they're gonna shut my channel down. So try not to talk about those things. Because even if they see it in my chat section, it's I don't know. I'm very sensitive about that. So if you don't mind, thanks. I appreciate that. Um, Anyhow, any other questions? Okay, Barry. Thanks for stopping in. What am I at? I'm at about an hour. So any other questions about Olympus or photography or watches? Now that I'm a watch, now that I have a bad case of gas for watches, I feel naked now that I'm not wearing a watch right now. But I took it off because I wanted to show you on the camera. Let's see. Oh, Pete says, having trouble shooting the full moon with the 12 to 100 on manual focus. It wants to magnify even though I have this turned off. Uh, okay. Which camera is it? To digitize high res shot. To digitize diapositives is high res shot at 80 megapixels. I don't know what a diapositive is. If you're referring to like slide film or something like that, yeah, I would try it. I don't think it's necessary. I think 20 megapixels is more than enough to scan, to virtually scan slides and things. Okay, bye, Peter. Thanks for coming in. Oh, Pete was asking about the EM5. Okay, so you have an EM5 Mark II, and the question was 12 to 100 on manual. Uh, I think you have to turn it off in two places, man. That's it. See, now the questions are getting tough, right? So I have a clutch on my 7. Where's my EM5 Mark II? Richard Bone. I don't think it's unavailable on any lens that you put on. It's just hard to see with wide angle lenses to see the focus peaking because everything's kind of in focus. But all right, so if I go into autofocus mode, change it to manual focus, full time AF off, reset lens, bulb time, focus ring, manual focus assist off. And then I turn the ring. It's not peaking for me, Peter. I don't have a 12 to 100 to put on, but I have. Yeah, I'm using the focus clutch on my 17 millimeter, and it's not peaking on me. So you're in this menu, right? Manual focus assist, and then magnify is off, peaking is off. That's all I did. Unless you're talking about, okay, there's another way you can manually focus, right? Yeah, even if I'm in manual focus in the super control panel, it's still not peaking on me. Yeah, sorry, Pete. I don't know where else to look. That's the only place. Let me turn off the focus clutch and see if that, no, that didn't change it. That didn't change anything. Is there anywhere else that this could be? Under display, control settings. Nope. Picture mode settings. Nope. Peaking settings. Nope. Let me turn it to red. Maybe I'm just not. No, it's definitely no peaking here. Yeah, that place I showed you where you turn everything off, that's the only place I can think of to turn peaking off, and that should work. I just don't have a 12 to 100 to test that lens directly. Okay, which would you select, a new EM5 Mark III or an EM1 Mark II if they were the same price? So this would imply that I'm shooting with like maybe an EM10 Mark II right now, or maybe I have no camera. It really depends on your need. The EM1 Mark II, I have a video on comparing the EM5 Mark III and the EM1 Mark II, so you should watch that video because I really go into detail about which camera would you pick, or what are the differences between the two cameras, and depending if you need those things in the EM1 Mark II, because the EM1 Mark II is superior in every way technically to the EM5 Mark III. But the main difference is the form factor. The M1 Mark II is a much bigger camera with a deeper grip. And for me, I prefer the smaller, lighter weight body of the M5 Mark III. So I would buy the M5 Mark III right now over the M1 Mark II if I didn't have either camera. That would be my choice. But there's a lot of features in the M1 Mark II that you may want or need, right? Like it has dual card slots. It has a superior battery life by far. Those are the two biggest ones for professional work. You can also tether with the M1 Mark II easily. You cannot with the M5 Mark III. You have to kind of do this workaround thing. And it also has lens profile database that you can save different lens profiles. So if you like to adapt manual lenses, it'll save that data into the EXIF data. For video work, it has a headphone jack in addition to a mic jack. What else? Arguably, it has a better weather sealing and a more durable body. As a full magnesium alloy chassis, right, in the camera. So it's a much more durable camera. So in every way, the EM1 Mark II is superior, but it's not the right. If I had to choose, I would get the EM5 Mark III because of the form factor mainly. Because performance-wise, they're identical in terms of image quality, movie quality, autofocusing capability. They're identical. It's just the feature set and the form factors are very different. Hi Rob, what's your opinion of the 7 Artisans and the Mike Emanuel lenses? I haven't used either one. And I think they're made by the same people in some cases, right? Like you could buy the Mikey lens or the Seven Artisans, but the same exact lens. So just different branding. But yeah, I haven't heard anything bad about them given the price point, right? Because you're paying less than $100 for a lot of them. So given the price point, nothing wrong with them. Hi Rob, I just came in. Do you think Olympus will ever make a 1-inch sensor waterproof camera? A lot of people have talked about wanting one. Yeah, like a nice TG7, right, with a 1-inch sensor. I have no idea. That would be kind of nice though. I agree. Is it me or does Olympus intentionally make focus peaking unavailable on lenses? Yeah, I all I know is when I use super wide angle lenses, the focus peaking is hard to see because everything's so tiny, right? So maybe try cranking up the intensity of the focus peaking up to high because there's a low, medium, high, and see if that works. Or if you need to put yeah, very important though. If you want focus peaking, make sure it's turned on in the menu like I showed before. But you also have to have the camera. The camera has to be in manual focus mode, right? So make sure you don't have it on autofocus like SAF or CAF. Make sure it's in manual focus, and maybe that's why you're not seeing the focus peaking. I did, Hans. I sent you a response back. They were nice. I like the sun rays on the one image. Um, but yeah, I got your pictures, Hans. They were nice. Okay, Roman. See you later. No, no. All the lenses you can focus peak day and all day long with manual lenses. I do it all the time. So I think the trick is though you got to make sure the camera's in manual focus, and then the focus peaking will work. Even with magnification, I don't see it. Okay. Which lens are you using? I mean, there might be a slight chance I have that lens that you're trying to use focus peaking on. Richard Bone, yeah. Um, by the way, can you take a picture of the moon with a digital teleconverter turned on in the camera? Yes. Yes, you can use digital teleconverter. Why not? Rob, have you tried using anamorphic I have not. I have not tried because yeah, there's no desqueezing option, right? To because anamorphic lenses compress the scene or stretch it out, something like that. I've never used one, but I understand the optics of it, and you have to do it in post processing uh, to to get it into the right perspective. Some cameras do it in camera, like the GH5s. You can do anamorphic lenses in camera, but with any of the Olympuses, you'll have to do it in post processing. Um, Hi, Photo 7. All right, oops. The stupid thing scrolls too fast sometimes. I just bought the M1 Mark II that was shelf display model. I went to buy the M5 Mark III, but for the same price. Yes. Oh, thank you, second player. This is one of my favorite jackets. I wore this a few live streams ago and I talked about it, but uh, it's a good jacket for springtime. Okay. All right. Bye, Iwan. Thanks for dropping in. I'll try and start off talking about cameras in the next stream instead of watches. I just bought these watches, so I was kind of excited. Um, when I mounted a manual lens, I set the focal length to IBIS. Now I switched to autofocus lens, but the IBIS focal setting is still from the manual. You can ignore it. When you put an autofocus lens on, it doesn't matter what the IBIS focal length says, Kostov. So just ignore it. It automatically uh, knows what the correct focal length is for that lens if it's a normal autofocus lens. Um, Hi Rob, longtime watcher. Just wondering, what's your opinion of the Olympus 75-1.8? It's a terrific lens. I mean, it's really good. I just don't like that focal length that much. I tried to use it a few times. I thought I would use it for portraits and things, but you have to stand so far away from the person to get a decent portrait. If you're going for just like a shoulders up or chest up type portrait, you're okay. But I was trying to use it for like a family of three, right? Mom, dad, and little 3-year-old daughter, and I had to stand like 15 feet back or 20 feet back from them. So you get a very compressed looking image that it just didn't look right to me. So and that's a focal length issue, right? I'm not a big fan of that focal length for anything but chest up type photography, right? And then for any other kind of photography, some people like to use it for landscapes, to focus in on like a certain area, and other people like to use it for street photography, time to time, to get that different perspective on a scene. But as far as optically, it's an excellent lens, tack sharp, amazing, and it focuses very fast too. Um, so it's fast focusing, very sharp. Just that focal length, I'm not a big fan of. But other than that, and the build quality is excellent. I have it around here somewhere, but yeah, it's a good lens. Um, when friends ask you for camera suggestions, what do you normally respond with? Uh, if it's my friend, right, like somebody I know and see very often, I will tell them to get an Olympus because I can show them how to use it. If it's your friend and you shoot Canon and it's a close friend, I would tell them to get a Canon because you can show them how to use the camera. Because the camera is not the issue, right? Usually, when people buy a camera, the issue is learning how to use it. And it helps a lot if they know somebody that can help them with the camera. So, my advice is always to recommend a camera that they can learn from somebody and go out and shoot with them together, right? And learn how to use the camera. Uh, and then once they learn, and just get an entry level camera, don't go crazy, right? Because I know people, they go out and they buy like, $10,000 cameras and they don't know how to use it. uh, but um, yeah, just buy an entry level camera, any brand, but it has to match. Now, if both of you don't know what you're doing, then my advice would be different. Find somebody that does and buy the camera that they're using. But yeah, that would be my advice. Is buy the camera that is best. Now, assuming that they don't have anybody they can go to, like if you're asking me uh, for general advice when searching for a camera, the general advice is to buy the camera that feels best in your hands, that inspires you by its looks. I mean, I'm being kind of vain, but if you don't like how the camera looks and feels in your hand, you're not going to want to use it. And that's the main thing is how does the camera look and feel in your hands, because all the cameras will give you good image quality, uh, or bad image quality if you don't know what you're doing, right? So really, I think you should get the camera, and I would say get an interchangeable lens camera if you're serious about photography or want to be serious about it. Get an if it's your first interchangeable lens camera. Otherwise, maybe a bridge camera, one of those Panasonic FZ1000s or something to get them started in photography. Because then they won't be sucked into buying, 1,000 lenses, right? They have all the lenses they need and all together. So it really depends on the person, um, what camera to get. But definitely, I would say get the one that feels good in your hands. And I know a lot of people, they like to buy the bridge cameras first, and then if they really get into photography and can take good pictures with a bridge camera, then they'll know what to look for when they go to buy a interchangeable lens camera. Um, Plato's. So hopefully that answered your question, Joseph. If you're asking what Olympus camera would I recommend, EM5 Mark II all day long as the first camera. Where did I go here? I'm going to go for about 5 more minutes and then we'll go into the photo critiques. If there's any pictures, I haven't even looked. I think I saw a couple, but... Oh, thank you, Bob. Yeah, if you do SAF plus MF, CAF plus MF, yeah, now the key being it needs to be in MF mode. One of the manual focus modes. Thank you, Bob. Let's see. Focus peaking does not work when you're using the clutch. Really? I rarely manually focus, but okay, I'll activate the clutch and let me turn on the focus peaking. It's in the AF menu. Assist. And my manual focus is not working at all. Okay, put the clutch in. Oh, you're right. Wait, I disabled the focus and clutch. Hold on. There, now it's operative. Oh, you're right. Dang. Wait, no, it is working. Where are my glasses? I can't see. But I'm gonna figure this out. I don't know if it's peaking or if that's moire. Let me turn off the magnification. All right. Oh yeah, peaking is definitely not working if you use the manual focus clutch. Wow, did not know that. See, I told you questions are getting harder. Ah, whoever shared that, thank you. Second player, thank you. So that might be true of all the focus clutch lenses. Joseph, that's a good point on getting the same brand. Yes. I don't understand why you're not an Olympus visionary. Because they didn't ask me. But that's okay. I'm fully independent, right? So I don't have to uh, be biased against any particular brand, and I don't have to be biased for a brand. I can just shoot whatever I want with impunity and say, I like this, I don't like this. And I think it should stay that way, right? just be independent. I mean, I would love to go on trips, but you know, like Frono's Photo, they sent Frono's Photo and a bunch of other people that are not visionaries out to Miami and let them shoot all day long and paid for their travel. They're not visionaries. That's all I want, you know? Let me go let me go out and try out some new camera and lenses for Olympus, you know, and I can be independent. Uh, I have Olympus OMD5 Mark II. I cannot find how to change the color settings on video if it only defaults to flat. Are you also able to shoot slow motion, but I only have the options 25 and 59. I see. Okay, let me. Now, if you're only able to shoot in flat, it's because you have the picture mode on. So the EM5 Mark II. This is not a camera I use for video, but let me go into the movie menu and let's see if it's in here. Picture. So you see this setting here in the movie menu, picture mode on. You need to just turn that off, and then you can pick whatever profile you want. So I'll turn this off, put it in movie mode. My eyes. Oh, this has a button lock on it. I didn't. Stop it. Yeah, so I'm in movie mode, right? So I can change now to any picture profile once I turn off the picture mode. So let me go turn it back on. Yeah, now it's only flat, right? So just turn that off, picture mode. And then as far as slow motion goes, I think that's a whole different thing. Let me see where that is. That's it's not something I use either, but I can select 25. I mean, the maximum frame rate is I guess you're in Europe, right? They use PAL, would be 50p. That is the maximum frame rate for slow motion, but you need to be in this menu to select. Let me turn off the I need to put the lens cap on so you can see it. You need to be in this menu. Where's my lens cap? There. All right. So now movie mode's disabled because I took the lens off. No, there we go. You need to be in this mode where you can select the slow motion right here. So basically what it's going to do, it's going to record, physically it's going to record at 50 frames per second, but then it's going to save the file at 24 frames per second, or I'm sorry, 25 frames per second. So you get that slow motion effect, but you have to be in that mode to do it that way. Most people, they do the slow motion effect in post-processing, but you can do it in camera, but you have to record at the 50 FPS in that setting and then change the slow motion multiplier, because you can go even slower than 2x. But check that and play with that a little bit, and that should get you started on the slow motion. Yes, you can change the color of the focus peaking. when you go into the manual focus assist menu, it is so in the manual focus assist menu there, right? No, it's not. Hold on. It's in the display menu. So you go in the display menu here, D. You go into peaking settings, right? And then in peaking settings, you have color. Right now it's set to red. Then I can change it to yellow, like so. So go in the display menu under peaking settings. It's in there. You have to scroll down a little bit, but that's where it is. Camera buying advice for a friend: go with them to a big camera store and watch how they like the various cameras being demonstrated, as it'll give you an idea of what'll make them happy. Yeah, like if you can, always go to a camera store and try them. Let's see. OMD needs to have communication through the lens to provide focus peaking. My fully manual lens is never focus peak as it's fully manual. That's not true. Where's my manual lens? Oh. Crap. This is the only one I have handy right now. Oh, no, there's a small one here. All right, this is the manual focus lens, right? This little CCTV lens. Watch me be proven wrong, though. Oh, dang. This mount's not very... So that's aperture. This is focus. Wow, the close focusing distance is not great on this. All right, so I got no peaking there. Autofocus, manual focus assist, peaking on. And oh, I'm in movie mode, duh. There. All right, now manual focus. What the heck? I used to use focus peaking all the time. I haven't shot manual in a long time. Hold on. Okay, no focus peaking there. Definitely in manual focus. Manual focus system. No. Display. Peaking. Settings white. Make it red. High intensity. What am I missing here? No, it's focus peaking. Definitely. It's just very weak. Peaking setting, intensity high. Try a different. All right, you know what I'm gonna have to do? This is really hard to do on a stream. I'm gonna have to make I have a video on setting up the focus peaking and things for manual lenses. So check that. That really goes into detail, but I might have to redo it with this other camera because I'm not seeing it like I used to see it. I remember I used to manually focus with my other CCTV lens, and it was very obvious when you could see the peaking, no problem. So let me make a note. That'll be another good quick video to update. focus peaking with adapted lenses. Because I see what you mean. It's not obvious that it's peaking. It's peaking, but it's really weak. I don't remember it being at that weak. It used to be super clear. So let me look into that, and I'll come back to that. Chili bones. And Rick is saying the same thing. It won't work with full manual lenses. I'm gonna okay. This is gonna be a matter of controversy for me, but I'm gonna say that it does work with full manual focus lenses, adapted lenses, because I know I used to do it all the time. I mean, it's vivid in my, unless my brain is playing tricks on me, but I have a very vivid recollection of using focus peaking with adapted lenses. I just can't do it right now for some reason. So I'm gonna have to come back to that, but I'll definitely come back to this. I had to try peaking, and for sure it's working fine with the clutch. It's exactly the same as turning manual focus on it. Yes. How many batteries and memory cards do you like to keep on hand when you're out shooting, and have you ever had a memory card fail? Yes, I've had memory cards fail. Very rarely. I got maybe a dozen memory cards, and one is completely dead out of that dozen. So 1 out of 12, give or take. And I've also had memory cards work just fine, but then when I tried to copy them to my computer, sometimes 2 or 3 out of 100 images will be corrupted. I've had that happen. So to me, that's a memory card fail. And I normally only take 2 cards with me per, like 2 cards with me. Like I'll have, it doesn't matter how, because I typically bring like 3 cameras with me. But I always have 1 extra memory card if I remember to bring any at all. That's happened too, where I'd go out and I'd have no memory card. So, but yeah, I always have 2 memory cards, or I have 1 memory card for each camera plus 1 more memory card on top of that in case one of them gets full. It's very rare I fill up any of the memory cards, and I've been buying these bigger ones lately, 512 meg and 256 megs. But I have a stack of these, 32s around too. But I've only had one actually totally yeah, one that's actually totally dead. I've been meaning to take it apart. But okay. As far as batteries go, I always have 1 extra battery per camera. So 2, minimum 2. Sometimes I take 3. Depends how long I think I'll be shooting. If there are these, if all I have are generic batteries, like this piece of crap, I'm gonna bring as many as I can. So in this case, I bring about 4 batteries with me. If I have, but when I have my Olympus original batteries, I only need to bring 1 extra. These are really pretty solid. Generally speaking, I only need to bring 1 extra. All right. Hi Rob, when you shoot manual lenses, you have to assign a button to activate focus peaking. Mine is, thank you. Thank you, yes. That's what I used to do. I used to assign the focus peaking to a button. It's in my video. Then it works perfectly fine. So, all right, so I'm gonna I'm gonna make this happen. So where's my button menu? B, button function, AEL. Let's change that to peaking. Bang. Function button 1. Where is it? Here. So now, that's right. Who said that? Paul Buell. Paul Buell. You are awesome, man. That is exactly what needs to happen. So, man, what am I doing here? F. Let's put F2.8. True. All right, that's without focus peaking. And then I turn focus peaking on. Okay, I gotta turn off the green screen. All right, so can you guys see the focus peaking? It's working with this dinky manual focus lens that has no physical contacts. Oh, I knew it. I knew it. I knew I used to do it all the time. But yeah, you have to assign it to a button, then it works. Oh my God. I'm looking through a 45mm Minolta lens on my M10 right now, and those red outlines sure are in focus peaking. I have it on the FN2, and you, yes, thank you, Wade. Another one. Hey, Des, how are you? Good to see you. Rick says, I think I may have got the focus peaking wrong. It didn't work on my old manual. Yeah, basically all it is, Rick, is you have to assign the focus peaking to a button, and then you can activate it on and off. Same thing with the magnification. It's just been so long since I've been shooting at all, to be honest, because of this lockdown. All right, let me see. Tony B, you are wrong, Rick. Wait, let's do a photo critique. Okay, yeah, Nicola, we need to get to the photo critiques. All right, so I'm gonna go into the photo critiques. So hopefully I didn't miss anybody's questions, but let's take a 5-minute break. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes. So it's 5:47 right now, my time. So in 5 minutes, okay? Let's see if my other thing works. And anybody who wants to stay for the photo critique, I hope you all stay. But if you don't, if you're not into the photo critiques and things, it's okay. We'll catch you next week, or on what is today? It's Thursday. So on I'll be back on Sunday. If you guys want to come back on Sunday for normal chat, and I'll start off with cameras. I won't talk about watches next time. And try to start answering questions and stuff. So so everyone that's been here, thank you very much. If you're going to come back for the photo critique, I'll see you in 5 minutes. All right. Okay, still a lot of people here. Good. So what am I looking at here? Looks like this is Bob's picture, EM1 Mark II, etc. Northern Caveman Photography. Oh, I like it. It's a little bit flat though. It's like a HDR shot where everything is kind of at the same brightness. And it just feels a little bit surreal to me. So I feel like it needs a little bit more pop to it. So I wouldn't have made it so flat if this were my And again, these critiques are just simply how I would edit the photo, not necessarily it's good or bad. It's just what I would do differently. So I feel like it's beautiful picture otherwise. Composition and everything looks really good. I love how everything is so well balanced, right? And the colors are awesome. You have that nice green, yellow, and blue sky with the amazing, amazing detail and tones in the clouds. So everything was captured perfectly. Uh, but I think it's just too flat. Like the sky is the same brightness as the ground, and that just looks unnatural to me. So, oh yeah, Bob. Don't. Oh, this. Oh, you're here, Bob. How are you? That's the only thing I would do differently. Yeah, I haven't. I got to figure out a way to safely let people upload whatever they want. But right now I'm a little bit behind on that. Um, so this is what I would do for this image. I would definitely. Let me bring up the. Let me do a luminance here. Let me see if that. Uh, the luminance is very. Oh, that's too much. I would bring the greens and the yellows down. Let me make these darker. So that's, yeah, that's darker. Okay, now let me bring up the blues and make those brighter. And you guys can throw in some feedback and comments if you want me to try something, or if you think I'm messing it up too much, it's okay. So what I've done here is I darkened the greens and yellows, brightened the blues up a little bit, and then let me punch up the highlights. So I'm going to drag this to about here. Because you can see in the histogram here, there's a big gap here. There's no information in the upper luminance, right? And I would, now, let me brighten the image overall with a little bit of exposure comp. Because I want to bring the yellows and the greens back up, but I want it to be substantially darker than the clouds. So I've clipped some of the highlights there that you captured, but let me just move that out a little bit. I think I can brighten it a little more. Let me see if sliding it this way helps. No, that's not going to work. I need to. All right, so a little bit down. Yeah, just a little more pop on the brighter areas. See if I can bring the highlights back in. So I hate to clip the clouds completely, but that's a bit too much. Right about there. If I had a gradient filter, I would just use a gradient on this whole top half and make it brighter. So what I have to do is artificially bring the colors down. And, whoops, wrong one. It's a JPEG, so I'm starting to get a little bit of grain. Something in that area, that's where it needs to be. Maybe some clarity would help. Andy Hayes. Dang it, now I jacked it up. I'm getting too much, turn the dehaze back off. What did I do wrong here? Did I mess up the blues? Where? Yeah, okay, something like that. That's what I would do a little bit differently. I wish I could just put a whole gradient filter on the clouds up here. I feel like I can play with the tone curve a little bit more. Let me see if I can. All right, that's about all I can do with that because I don't have the raw file. So let's do a quick comparison. So there's the before and after. So all I tried to do is separate the sky a little bit from the foreground and give it a little more contrast between the two areas because it just looks a little bit too surreal on the left, a little bit too flat. So it needs more punch. So like in Lightroom or Photoshop, I would use a gradient filter here to brighten this up. Oh wow, I'm getting bleed on my hold on, let me see if I can scroll this down. Why am I getting bleed here in the chat window? You guys are not seeing what I'm seeing. What if I... Nope, that's not it. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So it's very subtle difference. It needs to be, and I would do more in Photoshop. I would make this top part have a little more contrast with the ground, so it's much brighter. And then there's a tiny bit of leaves here or branches sticking out here in the corner that I would brush out. These little twigs right up in here. But that's it. But otherwise, beautiful picture. Otherwise, I mean, it's really nice. So good job there. But that's that. Let's So if you have the raw file, you can get a much better results than I am with a JPEG because you know JPEGs don't have that much latitude with the highlights and shadows and things. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, this is cool. It's like a double exposure or something. Wow, yeah, nothing to do here. This is Emma. I like it. I like all of this. This is really cool. This is a really cool double exposure. I mean, maybe, you know, maybe bring the blacks in a little more, like so. Bring in the highlights. You know, because I like punchy pictures, right? Lots of contrast. I think that's all I would do. But that looks really good. I like it. See, now I got to go out and try something like that with my girl dog Ellie. But yeah, I would just, but you know, the picture on the left, you know, the original has some tones to the background so you can see the background. But it's, I guess if I wanted, we need to exaggerate something here. So how would I exaggerate? I could bring this up and then, no, that needs to stay there. And then I would do a dehaze. I mean, that doesn't really help much. I was trying to bring this background in a little bit more and go in that direction, but I think the other way was better, just going with a totally dark image. Just leave it, huh, Plato? I still think a little bit of this would, a little bit of that would do it for me. Just make the blacks a little blacker, and that's all I would do. But it's a great picture otherwise. All right, let's move on. Uh, okay, I have a long exposure. Oh, only did this in 1/10 of a second. That's good. Yeah, this just needs a little more pop too. I would just do that. I would bring the whites in just a hair. Just make the whites whiter. And then add some dehaze. Where is that? I think I need to bring the midtones in a little bit. So let me lock it here. Pull this here, but then it's actually in here. Ah, see, this is when you need a raw file. But I would bring the midtones or the shadows up just a little bit more. Maybe I can do it with the color wheel. This we're on luminance. All right, now we're getting there. And then the yellows needs a little more saturation. And the reds, yeah. All right. Then we'll take some of the blue out. And then just warm the image up a tiny bit overall. Oh, that's too much. Right there. All right, what do you guys think? That's my quick edit. Do a comparison. So the image on the left, the original image on the right. So basically I just cranked up the contrast and pulled out more of the color in the you know, because I saw a little bit of red down here, so I cranked up the red, and then I saw some yellows all over in here, so I wanted to bring that out, and that to me works. I kind of lost a little bit in here though. I don't like that, but that's okay. Actually, you know, yeah, Rick, that's a good point. There's a good mix of like, because the shutter speed's at 1/10 of a second, so I can see where that that works. Oh, this is yours, Stuart. Okay, good. Let's see. I kind of missed this part. So since I don't have the raw file, I really can't bring this part out. But I think I just want to try something because I feel like we could go the other extreme. Let me get rid of this and this. Well, I didn't want to go that extreme. Hold on. Nah, that's not working at all. Let's go back to what I had before. Yeah, something like that. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, I lost a little shadow detail, right, Bob? But something right about here. Too much saturation, huh? Yeah, I would make some good postcards, huh, Rick? We could go muted. Just do it real easy with pale light and color or soft focus. That's a nice filter on there. I like that. Just put a soft filter on it. That's really nice. Now you can see kind of some mist and haze. Did I put any dehaze on this? Let me take that off. I don't think I added dehaze, but let me double check. Yeah, I did. So if we take the dehaze and clarity off, let's look at this filter now. Yeah, there we go. That looks really good. That's better than the edit I did. Just apply a water soft filter to it, and I think that looks really good too. Man. See, Olympus already did all the work for you, right? You just need to apply an art filter. I haven't applied an art filter in a while. Whoops. Hit the wrong key. Okay. Who is that? That was Stewart's. I don't know, Stewart. What do you think? I think that works. Let's see this one. Wow. Some old guy. He's probably my age. Gosh. I wish I knew what he was looking at. Whenever you get close in on a person, I always like them looking at you. Otherwise, you wonder what they're looking at. Oh, this is John's picture. It says 86. He lives alone in a small traditional house. He has electricity, but no plumbing or indoor water. He's never been to the doctor and lives simply on beans, rice, and veggies. Sounds like my diet. um, wow, he's 86 though. Wow, he looks really good for 86. You know who would do good with this is Jimmy Chang, or would really give some good advice on this. But it's really a good picture. I just wish he was looking at me. Man, he's got a good set of teeth. I bet those are not his, but um, maybe just crush the blacks a little bit. There's no information here. And then add some sharpening. Ooh, too much sharpening. I probably should use a mask, but we'll just keep it simple. Right about there. And I would desaturate just a tiny bit. Where's my saturation? Okay, that's all I would do. So very subtle. I mean, I probably need to saturate just a little more. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, he's got perfect teeth, right, Kostov? Um, what else would look good? Maybe black and white? Nah, not really. But whenever I do black and white, I like to crank the dehaze way up. Ooh, I like the black and white. I mean, the original is nearly perfect, but I really like the black and white too. That looks good to me. That's a good set of teeth on him, man. Better than mine. All right. Yeah, the context, right? Like they should be looking at you if you're that close. If they're looking away, I'd like to see what they're looking at. Um, yeah, that roof thing is part of the story, right? Because you can't see everything that's going on. But like if he was greeting somebody coming to his home, and then you could see his whole home, that roof would make more sense. But yeah, good picture, John. Really good. I like it. I don't know if anybody liked my black and white version, but I like my black and white a little better. Crop portrait. Okay, let's try that. Let's do cut off his shoulders a little bit. Let's see how that looks. Ah, that kind of works. It's hard to tell though, but I don't know. What do you think of that crop? That's not bad either. Okay. Um, yeah, I think the crop helped. It got rid of most of this roof. Now the roof is just sort of framing him more than being a distraction, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting picture, but yeah, this it needs more context, like more of an environmental shot when they're looking away. Okay, next one. Good shot though, John. You guys take much better pictures than I do. Oh, an astro shot. Let's see. Um, 91-second exposure time. Wow, that's really good, and there's no star trails. I mean, there's a little bit of eggshell effect, but it's certainly acceptable. So this just needs a little tone curve adjustment right here, and then this all the way down here. Come on, this needs to come down to about here. What if I put that there? Yeah, because what is this data? Yeah, I think this here, and then uh, tiny bit of dehaze, and then a white balance. It needs to be a little bit warmer. This is Steve's picture, looks like. Oh, a little bit less magenta. Let me see what I have over here. Tiny bit of sharpness. Mmm. This picture really needs some toning, but all these filters mess up the detail. So I don't think any of these will work. I think I need to play with the hue because it just looks a little unnatural. The white balance is off. So let's mess with the hue. Ah, there we go. Now we're getting there. And all right, now I need to go back to the tone. Yeah, Astro is mostly, I need to move this up to about here. And I can bring this in a little bit more. All right, that's what I would do with the Astro photo. I could play with the color some more, but I think that works. But yeah, really good shot. But that's how I would edit the Astro photo. You know, just oh, I made it too yellow. Crap. It's when I put it side by side, I can see now. I put a little bit too much yellow, so let me fix the hue here. I don't know if it's this one or this one. The Canon cripple hammer. Man, that's hilarious. Okay, that's what I would do. Like I said, I would definitely play with the colors a little bit more, but mostly it's just in the contrast and bringing out the stars without losing too much of the color. But good shot. And you see how the trees here, I can see like down here, the trees are all smudgy because they were moving, right, during that 91 seconds. So there was probably a little bit of wind out that night. So I would definitely crush all those down to black like I did over here as well. You'd have to expose for the trees and things separately, maybe do some light painting, or I would be popping flashes. But I wasn't there, so I don't know how far away everything is. But there's a really neat little tree right here that would have been really cool to get in the shot. So if there was time within that 91 seconds, I would have run out to that tree and popped a flash on it so it stood out. And that would have been really cool. But okay, the pinkish blue and that reflects the eyes on hydrogen. Oh, okay, Steve. So you know about Astro, yeah. But again, I'm going for that postcard look, right? But I think you're right, though. I'm kind of taking a little bit of the information away that tells us more about the galaxy itself. Oh, the camera was moving, so no. Oh, okay, so that's why. That's why you have that. Yeah, I should have recognized that. That's why there's no eggshells or anything in the stars, right? Because the camera was moving. It kind of confused me. What are you at here? Your 22 millimeter lens, and I believe that's a APS-C. So yeah, to do 91 seconds without getting eggshells or streaking, it would have had to been moving. So you must have been on a tracker maybe. But yeah, really good shot. Okay. Let's look at this. Oh, wow, landscape. Really nice, but I think again we kind of overdid it with the HDR. Let me look at this. Yeah, I can see in the sky up here at the top. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see it on your screen, but there's a lot of like grain and stuff here. I don't know what it's called exactly. It's not grain, but it's kind of messy up there. And that's because of this HDR or over processing. So it looks over processed even for me. So I would just desaturate a tiny bit. and warm it up a little bit because there's some light hitting over here, which is kind of interesting. But let me see. Let me lock this point. See if I can bring this up a little bit. Just a little bit here. Yeah, we lost all this up here. And this is where that's really blue. I don't know if I need to desaturate the whole thing or just the blues. Let me try just the blues. Ah, okay, I see what we need. Okay. So on the hue, let me see where we are in the blues. This needs to be, I don't think I can do it. I feel like these mountains need to be a little bit browner, but I don't see the right slider here for the blues. I don't think I can bring it in. That helps a little bit. I'm not really good with the colors here. No, Cost of the Sky is gone because it's a JPEG. If this were the RAW file, I could probably bring, oh, thank you, yellow and green, right? Yeah, I need to be down in here. That's a little bit too much. Okay, right there. And yeah, I'm not able to do anything with the blues here. I mean, I desaturated them a little bit, but that's about all I can do before I get. And I'm going to actually decontrast this a bit this way. Okay. All right, wait. I think I got it. And then let me see. Right in here and a little bit here. Oh, I think that's all I can do. Just give up. All right. So let's look at it this way. So that's the before and after. So what I was trying to do is bring in more of the brownish here in the mountains because it was really too blue. And then I desaturated a little bit. But I think other than that, it's, God, this is so beautiful. I would love to be there. Man. That helps a little bit. I mean, if you have the raw image, you can recover this part of the sky probably no problem. But yeah, that's good. All right, let's move on. John says to give up. But I think that helps. What is Rick saying? Always remember, less is more. The original has great possibilities. My own rule is only to enhance one aspect. Yes, that's true. Try to find the important part. It's like Malign and Jasper National Park in Canada. Oh, okay. Wow. Great shot though. I'll have to go to Canada someday. Oh, apply a pale fill. Okay, I'll do this for Kostov. I don't think applying an art filter to this image is gonna. The pale light number 2 maybe. I mean that brightens it up a lot, but yeah. I don't know if I'd go with an art filter on this image. It did warm it up quite a bit, but then we're losing kind of the color. Okay, let's move on to this next one. Rick, you thought the pale helped. It did a little bit, right? It kind of warmed it up and lightened it up because it did feel kind of dark, but the storm clouds were there, so. Ooh, an architectural picture. So we have repeating patterns here. The staircase. We have this amazing sky reflecting off the building. This is John's picture. I just feel like it's a little bit, the geometry is slightly off. So we have a little more space up here and space down here. So the geometry is slightly off. So we needed to skew a little bit. And then these are way off. Oh, my battery. Okay. I'll get the battery here in a second. Where's the battery at? I'll just take the one out of my EM3 or EM1 Mark III. See if I can do this without dropping anything. All right. Voila. Oops, cut my head off, but that's fine. All right. Yeah, so I'm thinking I just need to do some of this. It's mostly in the keystone may not, okay. Keystone may not be performed. I don't think I can. Dang it. Right there. This is a tough one. See, if I were there, I would have done it a little bit differently in camera. Okay. That's about as close as I can get it without spending too much time on it. And now I just need to rotate it. Okay. And then crop in just a tiny bit. I'd like to center this window. Why is that not centering? Like this. And dang it, I messed up the keystoning a little bit. I need a little bit less here. The problem is that the plane of the sensor is off on like 3 axes, and I only have access to 2 axes, so all right, we'll just leave it. And then I think somebody said maybe it was Kostov. Do a black and white and punch it up with a dehaze. And then bring in the tone curve. I think I can give it a little more contrast. Okay, I think that's it there. Without spending forever on it. Some clarity. Right about there. Two shots and merge, maybe. Yeah, Wolf Tick. I think yeah, they needed more contrast, but I could do that with a little bit of the clarity and the tone curve. I mean, I totally blew out the sky, so maybe I can bring these in a tiny bit this way. But that's getting a little bit too much, but right about there. So let's see how that looks before and after. I mean, I would spend more time with the skewing and stuff. The the distortion. I have to tilt it a little bit more back and then a little bit more to the right, but you can kind of see the direction I was going in anyway, just to make this more symmetrical. And I would focus in on the stairs like I did here. And I think that works otherwise. It's a really good shot. I mean, you have a good eye. You're seeing what you need to see. It's just compositionally, I would do it this way. Gentle sepia. All right. I don't think gentle sepia is going to work on this because the tones are... Gentle sepia works good when you have the raw image. But when you apply it to a JPEG, it just loses too much of the... There's too much information lost, kind of, for the gentle sepia to work. Because gentle sepia does a lot of things to the tone curve. And yeah, I don't think sepia works for this personally. It's just not an old time image. But okay, let's move on. Wow, there's a lot here. Let me work faster. Okay. Wow, lots of good detail. Just a slightly bit overexposed. This is the Sigma 56. Oh, I've been meaning, people have been talking about that lens. But there's just too much headroom up here, I think, for this shot. So I would just, obviously I would crop this. Put her nose. Maybe that eye in the center. And so that's got a little more evenness around the sides. There was just too much headroom. And then Rick's saying reduce gradient, maybe. Like I said, since I'm working with the JPEG, tiny bit here, tiny bit there. Yeah, the highlights are gone. There's no saving it. Let me try this. No. Dang, it's too bad. Let me pull this in a little bit. And then I would cool it off. Just a tiny bit. Well, no, I like the warm tones overall. Maybe a little bit more magenta. I think that's all I can do with this. Yeah, the hand is cropped out because she's holding some keys down here, right? Yeah, it looks like she's holding some keys. But yeah, this is gone. I was thinking about cropping that out, but then it would just be really tight. I mean, when you crop somebody's hands off, you need to take them all out, really. Yeah, I think that works a little better. I cut her hair off. Hold on. Oh, yeah, maybe it's a tassel. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Oh, it's off center now. See, when it's just too tight now. Oh, that's what I would do. That's the best I can do because it's just not cropped right. Um, man. Yeah, and if I bring any part of her arm in, it gets distracting. All right, but let's let me see. Anyway, that's my edit. I would I would have just I need to crop a little bit more on the bottom and top. You know, I bet a square crop would look really good on this. I don't know why I'm sticking to the 4x3. I think a square crop would work perfectly. When I did that, it doesn't show the original. Why? But yeah, a square crop works. Okay. Let's move on. But yeah, great picture. Just the compositionally, there's too much headroom. No. Okay. Yeah. Again, too much headroom up here. This is Paul again. I mean, I'm not a portrait guy, so it you know. But if I were doing this, I wouldn't have so much headroom. Actually, a really wide crop would look good with this, I think. Let me see. I like this wide crop on this dude here. That might be, let me try 16 by 9. There. I think that works better than the original. Let me see. Color and everything is perfect though. I don't see anything exposure wise or color wise I would do differently. So that's all I would do. I would crop it in more so there's a lot of room. I would have liked to seen more room here on the left side, and then it would make a great whatchamacallit, like a uh what do you call it when you sell your pictures online? So that companies can put their logos and things in there. What's that called? I can't remember. But that's what I would do with this. This is the kind of image that would be good for like those sites that sell your pictures to companies where they can put their logos and things on. So it really needs to be cropped with a lot of room on the left side. Maybe even that. Let me see what that looks like. That might be too much crop, but I think the original 16 by 9 was just right. Stock photo, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, stock photography. Yeah, it's the same thing, right, Rick? That there's no eye contact with the camera, and there's not enough context of what he's looking at. But I feel like this will make a good stock photo. It just needs a little more room here on the left, and that's it. But exposure and everything else is perfect. And again, this is with the Sigma 56f1.4 on an EM10 Mark II. So, man, you can get a really crazy depth of field with this. Okay, let's try the next one. Okay, it's a little bit crooked, but you know what I like is I like the shadows of the tree here on the sidewalk or the pavement here. Um, but this tree is distracting, and this thing is distracting. And the building's got some really beautiful architecture in it. I think I'm thinking, how can I capture this really cool shadow of trees on the pavement together with this building, but get rid of this? This really needs a whole different kind of composition because there's a lot of interesting things in this image. But the composition itself just doesn't do it for me. Um, Let me try vertical. Something right about. I don't know if it's worth it to get that tree or not over here. Ooh, I'm losing something. Okay, now I need to punch up the contrast. I want to emphasize this tree. Where's my tone curves at? Let me see. I'm not sure I can bring the trees in the shadow without killing all the shadow here in the building. Because they're kind of at the same luminance. So this would be good if I had a gradient filter. I could just focus on the trees here in the bottom. Yeah, exactly, right? It's like there's a lot of things going on, so they have an eye for something here, but it's not being communicated. I agree with that. Unless you're talking about me. But if this were my shot as a real estate architectural photographer, I would just focus in on kind of the more interesting parts of this. And if I want to get artsy fartsy, because the colors are really bland, there's not enough color contrast here between the bricks and everything else here. So let me just see what this looks like real quick. Okay. Yeah, I think this dramatic tone helps. All right. And then I can probably undo what I did on the tone curve. Yeah, reset that. So I think that's all I can do with this. And it needs to be straighter. I think that was the other problem I was having. Yeah, this line and this line. This line here needs to be straight. So just like that. Okay. There. Now that feels right. So let's compare. So, yeah. Basically, I like the shadow of the trees on the ground. I wish I could have captured more of that, but I'd have to be there and stand in a different place to capture more of the trees on the ground, the shadows, I mean, and not get this terrible tree here out of it. Because this tree over here is beautiful. So I wanted to keep that in the shot. So probably, yeah, I would have definitely walked in closer and I would have walked in closer, did a portrait, and then got lower a little bit. So I'm more level with the stairs here so that you're walking up to the stairs. You would lose some of the trees here, but if you're, ah, it's a tough call. I'd have to be there and work the scene a little bit. But this is what's interesting to me. And then that dramatic tone filter, I did that mainly to bring out the tones in the on the ground here. Because you don't need to see this tree and all that to see the shadows here. Okay, that's good. Um, let's move on to the next one here. Ah, tiger. A leopard. I don't know. No, this is a leopard. Wow. Look at that. I like this shot right here, cropped in just like this. I wish he was standing more on the over here instead of against this rock because there's not enough contrast. God, I love this tree too. Man, if you'd have took the picture a little bit sooner so his head was here. I mean, I know you can't time things with animals too sometimes, you just have to get the shot. But this looks kind of man-made here. So I would crop the man-made parts out. So let's do a 16 by 9. Keep the tree. I think that's all I would do is just get rid of that man-made part of the pond out. I mean, if I kept a regular aspect ratio, could I still, no, I can't do it. I have to do it, I have to do a 6, well, 4 by 6 maybe. Hold on. Where's a 4 by 6? No. I have to make a, yeah, 16 by 9. That, I mean, that gets me where I need to go. Oh, it's a Jaguar. Thank you, Plato. See, I told you guys, I don't know nothing about nothing. Um, that's why I look funny. I lost my light. Okay. Yeah, that's all I would do. I don't think it really needs anything else. Oh, they kill crocodiles so they're near the water. Okay. But this has got to be a zoo or something, because look at this trail here. This is the like a beaten path. Like this is where they go all the time. Is this at a zoo? Do you know? Whose is this? Oh, this is Amir's. So I don't know if you're here, Amir, but I it feels like this was at a zoo because everything is. This looks a little man-made, and then. But okay, let's move on. There's nothing else I can do with that. Oh, Kostov, this is you. Nice. It's crooked though, but I like it. So I definitely have to fix that. I'm gonna get the wheels straight. At least straighter. I don't want it so straight I mess up the horizon too, but I think yeah, right about there. And then let me see what's going on here. All this road up here doesn't do anything. It doesn't lead to anything. It doesn't. So I would crop this wide again. Because all this road in the front here is just dead space. I mean, I'm a big fan of like empty space, but this is just doesn't do anything. I think that works. A nice wide crop. I don't know if I can crop in. I don't know if cropping out the right side or the left side would be better. But if we centered the horse like so. Yeah, I was thinking, Tito, about cropping this part out over here, but there's just not enough wiggle room in the image. I mean, that, yeah, still not really enough wiggle room though. I'd have to crop in a little tighter. Like that. Get rid of that ugly something road bit. Yeah, I like the dust too, Plato. That's why I would rather center the horse and capture all that motion. Kind of like this. So put the horse front and center. Even out the space. But yeah, I think this works. Yeah, bring the highlights down. So I think a little bit of dehaze would do that actually. Where's my tone curve? Is this guy Amish? I don't think so. He's got a radio here. It looks almost like a period type thing though, but no, that's not helping. Yeah, yeah, I agree. You think I should straighten the wheels more? I don't know. Okay, that's all I would do, Casa. It's a really nice picture, though. I think you did a really good job with the tones and the exposure and everything looks really good. There's not much I would change. Well, I didn't change much. I just cropped it in because the uh, the total scene. This is just too much of the scene, and all the action is right here with the horse and this dude. So I think this picture on the right works a little better. And then yeah, by bringing the highlights down a little bit, you can see more of that tone that you put into the black and white. This would be awesome if you could do some split toning. Man, this would be a really good picture, but you can't do split toning in workspace. But good job. I really like that picture. Uh, Rick says a rule of aviation and speed is we need space for the vehicle to go to and somewhere for it to come from. Otherwise, we have something just that close up and not a story. That's true. Like I said, we kept the dust in the background, but I just felt like there was too much. It's clear they're on a road, so I don't think we need to tell too much more about the front. But the back with the dust, I liked. The road ahead is food. Yeah, that's true. Oh, nice wide shot. Well done, Paul. This looks like the same church steeple I saw last week. Much better, this shot. Really good. I like this. A little birdie flying here. I can't I can't touch this. I can't do anything. I wouldn't do anything. I would print this. Look at the detail in the mountains. You must have stitched some images together because you wouldn't get this in a single shot. I like it. Yeah, this is really good, right, Roberto? I mean, I just can't believe the detail in this shot. Like I said, it must have been stitched from several. Let me see what the dimensions are. 10 by 3, so 30 megapixels on an Olympus. So yeah, he definitely stitched 2 or 3 images together. And he's shooting f4 with the 60 millimeter macro. So excellent. It's about 30 megapixels. It's 10 by 3, so yeah, a little over 30 megapixels altogether. But really good shot. Nothing to change here. I mean, I wouldn't even dehaze this at all. I just like because that gives it some distance, right? All right, let's move on. Good job, Paul. Oh, last one. Nicole. Oh, you were here earlier. I don't know if you're still here, but the bottom's cut off. I don't like that. I like this vase though with a little flower coming out, but I don't like how the bottom's cut off. So if you're gonna cut anything off, you have to cut a lot off. And this would be a good square picture too. Let's see. That's what I would do with this picture and then straighten it. Um, oops, come on. Go the other way. Not that much. Just about that. Okay. And then do a black and white. Because when you have all these tone or textures, you know, You have all these textures, but it's one color, right? So might as well go black and white if you're going to do one color. Because there's no colors in the background that contrast it. Um, oh, Rick. Rick's saying that the steeple. Wow, there's some delay in the chat thing here. Do I have? Yeah, that doesn't make any difference. But anyway, I would do that. And then I would, let me finish the edit here. Bring in the blacks a little bit more. Get rid of all of this empty space. And add some dehaze. Like I said, dehaze always works good on black and whites. I don't think clarity is going to do it. That's just going to jack it up, I think. Yeah. So I feel like that's what I would do with this image. A vertical crop. I don't see a vertical in this shot, but let me try it. Okay. All right. All right, Kostov, you win. I like the vertical a little better. Go vertical, black and white. Let's compare that. All right, that's what I would do, Niku. Because again, there's not enough color contrast or different colors to keep it a color image, especially on the main subject. So just go black and white. And then since the bottom's cut off, you might as well cut off a lot more. Get rid of all this empty space. This is just not doing anything for the pot here, in my opinion. And I think that the textures and everything coming in of this, what is some kind of flower thing. But yeah, I like this subject. It's just this first image is a little bit weak. Being cut off here. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think without the base it's losing context? Well, you know, I get that, but to me, the context is not very interesting. What's interesting is just what's going on here. So now you have to really look at the image and see what's going on. This image here, you know, being on a, you can see it's on a table, but it's not being used to serve food or anything. It's just an ornament. So I would just focus on what's interesting on the ornament. That's what I think. But okay, uh, there's such a delay on the live chat. I don't know if you guys are making comments on this one or not, because I'm just not seeing it. Let me go to the live window. Yeah, I don't see any comments on this image. You guys don't have any feedback for me other than going vertical? I think that was a good move on Kostov's part. But all right, let's call it. Oh, Nikolai, you're here. Only then flower has focus stacking. All right, Roberto, we'll see you later. Just concentrate on the top. Yeah. I thought about that too, Plato, but I didn't want to lose all of the yeah, now the chats are coming in right on time because I'm showing 712, 712. But yeah, I thought about that, but I wanted to keep some of this clay part in the image too. If I was a little higher and pointing down at the flower, maybe, right? Then I would focus in on the flower part. But yeah, I think this works. So this is the final. I think this is the final. I like this. If I had the raw image, I would make it a little bit cleaner because I kind of killed the background here with some artificial noise. I have to figure out what that's called exactly. But yeah, really nice picture. Really nice. Now, no, just kidding. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for coming in and joining me for another photo critique and live stream. I appreciate everyone's patience with me starting so late. I don't know why I couldn't get this camera to come on and show me, but I'll definitely Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday, and hopefully everything goes smoothly that time. So thanks again for coming in, and we'll see you guys on Sunday.